Hello everyone. Okay, today we will be starting with airport engineering, that is your sixth unit. Okay, we'll be dividing this whole unit, that is your tunnel, airport, and harbor, into three parts. As of now, we have completed tunnel engineering and we have come to the airport engineering. Okay, so before we start and go into the airport engineering, we'll try to have a brief knowledge about the air or the air transport, you can say. The air transport came into existence in the 20th century, right? This is a new technology that is used for the fastest way of transportation in the world, or it is a medium where you can transport the goods and the passengers through the air, okay, in the fastest means, and it is the fastest means of transportation up to now. Okay, to tell you about the history, the first flight was aired in the year 1903. Okay, only for 12 seconds. It was only for 12 seconds, and it was during the World War One where the development and the research over the aircrafts and aeroplanes started out. Where during the war which was required, right? So this is how the progress of the air transport or the air facilities have improved. Now we'll try to understand in the perspective of the civil engineering what are the things we are going to study here. Okay, so we are going to study not about the aircraft, we are going to study about uh, the facilities that is given to the aircraft, okay, and the passengers during the unloading and loading of the passengers or the cargo. Okay, see, the main work of the civil engineer is to provide a shelter or provide a shed for the uh, aircraft to stand or to take off or to land at a place. So for that there are the provisions to be made. Okay, so we'll try to understand what are the things are there in the, or what are the terminologies going to be used in the airport engineering, because it is a whole different branch in civil engineering. So we'll try to get into it. Okay, so right, this is how what we are going to start with. We'll try to understand the terminologies and we'll get into the uh, understanding of these words and we get familiar with these words. Okay, so what we're going to study is we're going to study the terminologies. Okay, and then we're going to study the right, and we're going to study the airport layout. We're going to study the airport layout. So the first terminology is runway. The first terminology is runway. So what is runway? So what is runway? Runway is nothing but a narrow strip of road. You can say a road only. It is a road. Okay, a narrow strip of road where the planes will take off and land off. Will have the landing. Okay, land. What is meant by take off? Before getting into air, it has to get its initial speed. Okay, it has to get some initial speed to get into the airspace. Okay, and once when it's trying to land down, or it is trying to come on the ground surface, that is called as landing. So the passage or the strip of road, okay, over which the plane will take off, will move into the air or come down to the ground, that is called runway. See, this is how the runway looks. Okay, uh, this is where the planes or the aircrafts will land off and the or land. Okay, so this is where the aircraft will land or take off. You can see the markings done over this runway, right? You can see the markings done. There are different markings done. there is a side markings which tells us the air driver or the pilot that we can't move away from this main path. We have to be in between this line. Okay, in between this road or in this narrow strip we have to be. We can't move aside of that road. We can't uh, try to move away from this road. And there is a center line drawn to it, where when you are landing down or taking off, your tires should be at the center of this road. Okay, and there are called as, there is a number written right before the center line. There is a number written. This number is nothing but it will tell you the on which runway you have to land, because this is being communicated to the pilots by the air control officers. Okay, there will be control office. Okay, so through that they will be telling on which runways they have to be land or take off, because there are large number of, if it is an international airport, there will be number of runways moving around. For that purpose, the number will be told to them so that they can land on that specific runway and it is cleared for them, because some other runways might be busy for taking landings or takeoffs, right? So this is what it is mainly used. We will be studying in deep about the markings in the coming slides. Okay, so this is a definition. It is a long, comparatively narrow strips of land which is selected or prepared for landing and takeoffs of the aircrafts along its length. It is paved except for a small aerodromes. In case of small, you might have seen the word here, aerodrome, right? This word. What is the aerodrome now? You might say, what is aerodrome? Aerodrome is nothing but another name for an airport. The place where the aircrafts will land and take off, do unloading and loading works, repair and maintenance works will be gone, where the people will be made to buy the tickets, go to the counters, okay, go through the scannings. All these are done in the airport itself, right? So aerodrome is nothing but it is a airport. Okay, aerodrome is nothing but airport. So next, so this is how on the runways there will be a takeoff and landing going. So you can see on the which it is taking off land. So taking off. So that is a narrow strip over which the aircraft will be moving. Okay, this is how it takes place, right? Here it is taking off. In the first picture it is taking off, and the second picture it is landing into the airport, right? So next is taxiway. So in the taxiway, it is a narrow strip of road. It is as a lengthwise also it is narrow, and it is by width wise also it is narrow. Okay, so this road or this way is paved. Okay, the runway is also paved and the taxiway is also paved. This is a connection between the runway and the apron. Okay, this is a connection or the connecting way between the runway and the apron. So what is apron? We will be studying it in the next slide, but first understand this, that taxiway is nothing but a connecting way between the airport runway and the apron. Okay, see here, if you can see here, this passage, this paved surface is your runway. This is nothing but your runway, and this is where the aeroplane is standing here now. Okay, where people will get down and get into the airplane or aircraft, loading and unloading, service maintenance works for a normal period, nominal works will be carried out. That place is called as apron, and the passage which is connecting here, right? You can see here, right? You can see this road which is connecting the runway and the apron, right? This way, right? This passage which is connecting the runway and the apron is called taxiway, right? The strip of pavement connecting the apron to the hangar, or it might be to the apron or to the hangar. Okay, what is hangar? That also we will be studying, as well as runway. See, there are various terms you will be discovering point by point. So just understand what is hangar. That is that it will be connected to the apron as well as to the hangar. Okay. Next, we will study about apron. As I said, what is apron? Apron is a definite area. Okay, it is an area accommodated by the aircrafts for the loading and unloading of the cargoes, passengers, parking and refueling, etc. Nominal service works, cleaning of the uh, aircrafts, okay, and internal minute works will be there, cleaning of the internal cabinets. All those things will be carried out during this time where it is standing on the apron. Okay, once the people are get down, and it is for the small service works, right? Parking, refueling, loading and the unloading of the passengers. The area on which the aircraft is standing, okay, for the refueling, loading and unloading, that area is called as apron. So you can see here, the aircrafts are standing here, right? And the vehicles, if you can see, the you can say the cleaning works, the latrines, the cleaning of the cabinets, okay, all the services, that is loading and unloading of the cargoes are done here, and as well as the passengers. If you can see, it is tube is connected to the aircraft, right, at the door, where the passengers are allowed to move inside the airport, okay, directly to this tube. Okay, they are allowed to get inside the airports. You can see this is an airport terminal building. It is called as terminal building. So this passage is called, this area where these are standing is called apron. Okay, so area of an airport accommodating the aircrafts for loading and unloading of the cargoes, passengers, parkings and refueling. So all these things, okay, nominal servicings that we say, that is given here to the aircrafts. Okay, so that is called as, the area in which it is standing is called as apron. So next is terminal building. So what is a terminal building now? Terminal building is meant for providing the facilities for the passengers, for serving as an office for the airport management, and for carrying out other non-aeronautical functions. They act as focus points for a terminal area. The area in which this terminal building is constructed, that area is called as terminal area. Okay, so here checking of our passports, checking of your goods, scanning of your various items, check-in, the ticket counters, all the various works, the airport managements, the aircraft controllers, the wind control management, all those things that are non related, which are not related to the aircrafts. Okay, so all those things will be carried out in this terminal building. Okay, it will be carried out in this terminal building. So you can see this is a terminal building, right? This is from the outside view how the terminal building looks. These are the different airports. This is actually a Chhatrapati Shivaji terminal building of Mumbai. Okay, and this is the internal part of it, where the people here are getting their tickets, and these are the ticket counters where you will getting the tickets for them. Okay, these buildings are meant for providing the facilities to all the passengers, for serving as an office for the airport management, where the management work will be going on, which flight will be moving at what time, which passengers are to be given the gate numbers to the which gate. all those things will be managed in these terminal buildings, because huge number of people will be there, will be traveling to the through the aircrafts or to the air transport facilities. So managing all those facilities is also a huge task. For them, a large area is required. So this building is been giving those service, rendering the service for the airport management. So next is hangar. We heard this word uh, in the taxiway, where the taxiway is connecting the runway to the airport apron and the hangar, right? So what is this hangar now? Hangar is nothing but it is like a garage, you can say. It's like a garage for the aircrafts, where servicing and repair works will be carried out. It will be large area because the aircrafts are also larger in size. They are in bulk size. So for them, the required area or the shed or the garage should be a larger space than that. So the large shed, okay, in which the aircrafts will be maintained, serviced, repair works will be carried out. It will be in the airport itself. Okay, it will be in the airport itself. That is important. It is not outside the airport, it is inside the airport itself. Right, you can see here, right, the aircrafts are taken into the hangar. This is what is hangar. It is a large shed, okay, in which the aircraft will be made to stand. It is not one aircraft, it's a number of aircrafts will be kept here for servicing and for the repair works. Okay, the same thing it is written here, the definition. Large sheds are erected at the airports for the purpose of service and repair of the aircrafts. So next is WINDROSE diagram. So what is this WINDROSE diagram and how it is related to the airport terminologies? So this is not a part of an airport. Okay, this is not a physical part of an airport, but this is an something scientific part, scientific term that is very much important in case of landing and takeoff operations of the aircraft. Okay, during the these operations, landing and takeoffs, this operation is very much important. Okay, WINDROSE diagram is nothing but this is a, a chart. Okay, it is a chart where uh, data of wind flowing, the data of the wind flowing in the various directions over of number of years. Okay, the wind data is recorded and its velocity is recorded in which direction it is flowing, okay, for over a number of periods or number of years. That is been kept with us. Okay, because during the takeoff and the landing, as I shown in the image, okay, in what direction the wind is flowing also is also important. If the wind is flowing in the north direction, right, if the wind is flowing in the north direction and it is above 30 meters per second and 35 meters per second, 40 meters per second, then your aircraft can't be allowed to, okay, take off or land, because that speed is very much high and it will not give us the stability to take off. It might lead to instability of the aircraft and it might lose its balance and may crash off. So this speed should be less than or equal to 20 meters per second. That is very much important. So only there are a lot of delays in the aircrafts. Why? Because of the weather conditions, due to the wind flowing conditions. This is all important. So the WINDROSE diagram is very much important. It is a chart which shows in which direction over a period of year, in what direction the how much speed of the wind is been flowing. Okay, so that in that directions we will not be providing the run. So if I give an example, if there is a speed of a 20 meters per second, 20 kilometers per second, kilometers per hour, the speed is flowing, and that time it is flowing in the north directions. So in that case, you can't allow your aircraft to take off in the south directions, because take off in the opposite directions. If the wind is flowing in the north direction, you can't make it to flow in the same directions. It should be taking off in the same directions, because it will provide a thrust. It will push the aircraft to move in the same directions. If it are landing, then it should be in the opposite direction. If you are taking off, it should be in the same direction in which the wind is flowing. Of course, it is necessary that your runway should be also in that direction. If there are lateral movement of the air, means if you are moving in this direction and the wind is flowing in the lateral directions, right? In the lateral directions like this. So in that case, it becomes very difficult. It will sway the aircraft like this. It will try to push the aircraft on the lateral side. So if the wind is flowing, we'll try to change the wind color. If this is a wind, okay, and this is a aircraft, so if you are landing, it should land in the opposite directions, because due to the resistance of the air which is being given by to the aircraft, which is, it will try to reduce the speed of it and we can land easily. Okay, and when we are, if the wind direction is like this, in the same direction we have to take off when we are going upside, and this is when coming downwards. Okay, when we want to go into the air, we have to move in the same direction that of the wind, and we are coming down, we have to be in the opposite direction of the wind. For this, all the studies, okay, the WINDROSE diagram is very much necessary. Okay, so this is how the WINDROSE diagram is. In this case, what the chart is saying is, in the northwest direction there is a lot of wind flowing, right? In the northwest direction, this lot of wind is flowing, and you can see the legends here. It is showing the wind speed in kilometers per hour, right? It is saying that lot of the wind is flowing is within the range of 20 kilometers per hour. You can see the red color at that point. Okay, there will be a larger wind at some points, and in other directions there is a very low wind speed, right? This is how the analysis is done for the operations of landing and takeoff of the aircrafts, right? The wind data is a representation in the form of chart known as WINDROSE, because if you see the chart, okay, if you fully fledged chart, it looks like a rose. The chart, if you can see, it is not fully here, but if you can see, if the wind is flowing in all directions, and it will move like a petals in all the directions, so it is given as WINDROSE. Okay, rose. Okay, it is prepared on the basis of record of the observations, right? As I said, over a period of observations or the recordings, this wind and the direction of the wind is been recorded, and it is in the for a number of years, and it is in the shape of rose, so it is called as WINDROSE diagram. Next is markings and signals. As I said, there is a difference. There are two types of markings and signalings. In the day, whatever markings are made on the road in the white color, right, that is the end strip or the center line or the end lines, the edges, or the various other threshold markings, all the other markings are visible in the day night. So we use in the day the markings on the roads, and in the case of the nights, we will not be able to see those markings made on the runways or in the taxiways or in the apron. The markings are done on all the three parts, that is your runway, taxiway, and the aprons, for the proper directions to the pilot to drive the aircraft. Okay, so for that, in the case of night, we will be putting on the lights for the communicating with the, so that we can communicate with the pilot. because the pilot will be at a higher height and he will not be able to see the markings made on the runways at the night, right? So for that case, we will be providing the lighting operations. So we'll find out how the lightings are built and the markings are built. As is shown in the case of the markings in the daytime, you can see the threshold markings are done here, right? This is called threshold markings, and this is a number which is given to it, okay? And the runway is given some name, 31L on the left side, okay, the 32 right side. So in that case, it is to identify on which runway it is going to land, on which runway it has to be landing or it has to take off. For that purpose this is provided. So when you are landing down, we can't land here on the threshold because it is the start of the runway. We have to leave the threshold markings and at here this phase, right? You can see the 3 line markings here, and from there you have to start getting down. Your tire should start touching the ground. After that 3 markings that is done, that is called getting down markings or the touching markings, where your tires of the aircraft will be touching. You can't touch the aircraft on the threshold line signals. That is very much important. These are the various signalings or the markings that are done. You have to just understand what are the types of how the markings are done. Okay, not going into deep. We'll just try to understand how the markings are done. Okay, and next is signaling. That is your night lighting. In this case, you can see there is a green lighting shown here, right? Green lighting shown here. So this green lighting shows us the threshold signals. Here the markings are done with number of lines in the day night, and in night it shows the end of the runway. It is the start or the end of the runway. Okay, then you can see center line, which is the orange color, and at the sides, at the edges, at some distance there are been lightings done, red of white and then orange color. Okay, when we start landing, you have to start landing from this point. So this is what touching. You have to not touch here. After this lighting, we have to start getting to the ground, right? That shows after the lightnings on the 2 sides of the center line, right? This here you can see the touch ground lights. After completing of this lightings, you have to get down. The tire should touch your surface of the runway. This is how the markings are done. These lights, which are green, orange and red color, this is to indicate that there is a turn over here. Okay, that is a taxiway is there. Okay, we are not suddenly going to get into the taxiway, but once we get down, we slow down the speed at that, and the further portion there will be again a taxiway. We can join here. Okay. Next is the airport layout. So we have understood the various elements. We have understood the various elements of the airport. Now when you combine it together, how it looks, how this works out, okay, how the components are being arranged, the various components, that might be hangar, that might be terminal building, apron, the taxiway, the runways, okay, these various parts, how they are been brought together and how these are brought together and arranged into a proper fashion. Okay, so for that case you will understand it, right? This is where you are going to take off or land, right? Once you land in this direction, right, once you land here, you will going to get down slowly and turn into here to get into the apron. So the passage between the apron and the runway, this passage which is marked with the yellow marking, okay, here you can see the aircraft here, right, which is going into. So that passage or that way is called taxiway, where the runway here landing and takeoff will be operations will be carried out. Once you are getting down through the taxiway, you will be getting into the area to stand off, right? You have to make the aircraft to stand somewhere, right? So that passage where it is going to come and stand. You can see number of aircrafts are standing over here, right? So that passage is called apron. Okay, always after taxi there will be an apron. Okay, and in front of that apron there will be a terminal building here, where people will get inside and get into the aircraft to this, and all the airport management works will be carried out. And in the same line there will be a hangar also. In this diagram there is no hangar shown, but at the one side of an apron it will be in the apron, after the apron itself, how the terminal building is been provided. In the same way there will be a hangar here. Okay, there will be hangar here somewhere here or this side. Okay, but it will be connected through the apron itself. Okay, this is are the various terminologies which are being used, okay, in the airport engineering, and this is very important terminologies. You have to keep in the mind the definitions. Okay, this will be coming into the exams very oftenly, and this is very important to understand, and how they are related, how they are brought together into the airport. Okay, understanding the various terms is very much different, but when you combine it together, how these are arranged, this is also is important. So we have studied into the airport of the layout. So this completes your airport engineering lecture. Thank you.